Hey, and welcome back to Trains in World 2. Today I'm the first time on the set pitch crate for Trains in World 2 with the Helping Hand scenario. In this scenario, I take a SD42 from Cumberland to Hyndman to begin some Fold Awakens as a trainee with the help of an instructor from the CSX company.
So, you're the rookie that give me the task of showing around. Well, in my view, there's no better way to learn than on the job, so you can take the engineer's seat for this run.
So let's go on, take a seat and take over the train for a second. And I'm always be quiet when he's speaking so I don't talk over him and he can tell us a little bit more about the whole track.
Before we reach the end of the yard, I'll contact the dispatcher for permission to head out to Hyndman. Set the locomotive up and we'll get going when you're ready.
Okay, let's set up the whole train. Thank goodness the scenario told me what I should do. But one thing, we don't talk about the bell. I maybe forgot where to turn off the bell, and it took me 30 minutes to find out where this big yellowish brown button was to turn off the bell. Don't mind the bell. Just don't mind the bell.
This is X551 requesting a track warrant from Cumberland Terminal to Hyndman. Over.
X551, subject to signal indications. Proceed from Cumberland Terminal as far as Cumberland Station. Wait there for eastbound Q116 to pass. Then proceed to Hyndman. Over.
X551, subject to signal indications, proceeding from Cumberland Terminal to Cumberland Station. Await passage of eastbound Q116, then proceed to Hyndman. Out.
Okay, and with this shot, we are out of the Cumberland Yard, slowly but steady towards the next dialogue that we face. And that's actually a thing that I want to talk about. The whole scenarios are a lot more polished in Trains in World 1 and 2 than in Train Sim. I was out from Train Sim for about 3 or 4 years. I was fully in Flight Sim, Race Sim, you know. You saw it on my channel actually. And coming back in Trains in World 2 shows me a lot more detailed what Trains in World is about. It's a lot more polished version of Train Simulator than Train Sim itself. But it shouldn't be since it's the newer game. And over the whole scenario, I want to talk about that a little bit more between the dialogues.
This is X551. We're ready to head to Hyndman. Over.
X551, subject to signal indications. Proceed to Hyndman. Over.
X551, subject to signal indications, proceeding to Hyndman. Out.
Actually, the main point that I still think that is lacking in the whole game is, especially when you're driving as a person just with the train, is the announcement of the next station. There are, of course, routes where you have already got it. I think it is the Workshop Union, is it called? The guys from the Southeastern Chinese Railroad DLC. They got the announcement in the train. And I think that's a big point. If you're in a local train, you always got an announcement what the next station is. And they should get that into the game. And if they don't want to have a license for the voice that is doing it, then just do one by yourself. And just, that's not a lot of work to just do a voiceover for the next station.
This is the Cumberland Narrows. It's crazy that just the Wills Creek carved it out. Lucky for us it did, though. Otherwise, it would have added another 10 miles to the line if we had to go around these hills via Crescenttown. Plenty of floods come through here in the fall. Strong enough to wash away road and rail. Although, things have improved over the years, Mike. Now the creek runs in a concrete box. But it still breaks free now and again.
But as I said, the game feels a lot more polished than before. So that means you see that there is a development behind it. There should be a development behind it, of course. But we know it, of course. There are a lot of simulators out there. They put the line relatively deep. As a German, I know there is a lot of trash simulators out there that shouldn't be called a simulator. But with train sims, we always, in my ranking, we were the lowest part of a real simulator. But it feels like we are getting slowly but steady up. Of course, we are not on a level from a flight sim perspective. A flight sims, they are so well developed and everyone is doing the best to do a realism thing. But we are getting there. So we're getting closer to the racing sim, guys. And maybe sooner rather than later, we're gonna overtake that type of game and we're the second place of the simulator. I hope so, since there's a lot of potential in train sims. And there's actually a market for it. Of course not that big than racing sim, but there is a market.
Up ahead, we'll pass through the town of Ellerslie. Not much of note, but this run up from the Narrows to Hyndman is our last chance to be sure about the train brakes before beginning the climb to Sandpatch Summit. Coming down can be just as treacherous. After the twists of Glencoe and Fairhope, you'll be glad to see straight at Hyndman. Don't get too comfy though. Too much speed and the curve at Corriganville will have you in the dirt in no time.
And especially on a scenario like this, you totally notice the difference. Since before you would have drove this whole scenario of 45 minutes by your own without someone talking to you, and it would get rather boring at times to drive around with like 14 or 15 miles an hour. And like that, someone is telling you a little bit more about the region and what the train is doing and what they are doing, and that's actually pushing it up above the other train sims.
You've no doubt noticed we share a lot of trackside with Wills Creek over Sandpatch Grade. These hills don't leave much room for the railroad to squeeze past. This is X551 approaching Hyndman. Requesting permission to stop and run back into the siding in Hyndman. Over.
X551, subject to signal indications. Stop and run back into the siding. Over.
X551, subject to signal indications, proceeding with stop and run back. How? We're passing through Hyndman. The siding should appear on the right-hand side shortly. It runs until just outside town. Stop beyond the switch and we'll run back into it and connect to the stopped cars.
But even if I think we are getting better where we are right now, there's a lot of things to do. I think we are getting slowly but steady towards the other Sims and getting more modern. And I think with the changes with talking and scenarios and everything, we are making a little bit more spicy and better for people to get into. I think there's still a lot of things that are wrong with the whole train sim part. For example, that point that you buy Train Sim World 1 and then they release another Train Sim World 2 years later or what it was, and they charge you 30 euros for technically the same game. I don't feel a difference between Train Sim World 1 and 2 too much, especially performance wise. It didn't help a lot, and I think they shouldn't charge you like they don't charge you for the normal Train Simulator updates. It should have been an update and the tracks just... so they charged you technically 30 euros or what it was. For an update they should have released on a normal way. Of course you get new tracks and everything, but still... Train Sim World shouldn't... Train Sim 1 shouldn't be Train Sim World 2. And I think this whole thing is a thing that's wrong in the whole community. You can develop one game and over time and pushing it every time a little bit further and upgrade it. But you shouldn't charge your fans that pay your DLCs and buy your DLCs. And we all know the money comes from DLCs. You shouldn't charge them for the main game so much and charge for the updates. But that's a thing that we talk in the next episode maybe. I don't know right now. I hope you enjoyed this video. And let's hook up the end of the video.
Before heading back, let's grab a bite to eat with the repair crew. That's them by the pickup truck.
So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, as I said. And if you enjoyed it, please consider to leave a like. Otherwise, I hope you're staying safe, staying healthy in these hard times. And I hope to see you guys in the next episode. See ya!